This is probably my first video ever. So today I'm going to be going through, I guess you would say, level 6 Caillou kata, and it's called the Maze Runner. So basically, I'm just gonna read the instructions straight as it is, and then I'll just go ahead and write some pseudocode to explain the problem, and then we'll go ahead and solve it. So it says, "Welcome, adventurer. Your aim is to navigate the maze and reach the finish point without touching any walls. Doing so will kill you instantly. You will be given a 2D array of the maze and an array of directions. Your task is to follow the directions given. If you reach the end point before all your moves have gone, you should return finish. If you hit any walls or go outside the maze border, you should return dead. If you find yourself still in the maze after using all the moves, you should return lost." Okay, well, first let's analyze what inputs we have. So we have the maze coming in as a 2D array, and this is an array of directions. So we're going to create a variable called start, because we need to find where in the maze our player is going to start, basically. So in this case, it starts right here. But for the edge cases, when you click attempt, there may be another position, so we can't just hard code that. So we probably need to find those on our own. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is we're gonna map through the maze, which is gonna be this. This is why we have rows. These are all the rows. Row, row, row. And then we're gonna map through each value. So when this is value, these values, each of these is a value. When this value is equal to 2, then we're gonna do a ternary statement here. We want to set start equal to the I value, because that's gonna be the row it's in. We'll set the second element in the array equal to the column it's in, so it would be the J. Okay, so if we console.log that, just to make sure we're getting that, what we expect. Let's see, we forgot the end. Now that we have that, we're going to create a method function called analyze path. We need to call this function analyze path. Path. Okay. So first thing, we need to pass in the maze. We'll need to pass in the start, the first value of the start, which is going to be the row. So basically, we're passing in a row right there, and then we're going to pass start 1, just so we could get these values individually on their own, and we can increment them by itself. Directions, we need the directions to map through in the function, and then we're going to set the directions index, basically the one that's gonna loop through all the directions. So we have maze, I, we're gonna name it I and J. Then we also have the directions coming in, and then we have the direction index. So this is what's keeping track of how we're gonna loop through these directions. If we were to go outside these walls, if we were to go outside the index 6, so if we were to go to 7, we were to go to undefined, because there's no array, there's no row there. And if we were to go past this this element here into the next one, there would be no element there, so it would be undefined. So this base case first, because if we do any of the other base cases, we'll probably get a no value. So I think I can show you a little bit more about that error that I'm thinking of. That's how one error. Well, is less than 0. So where I'm getting this from, if you hit any walls or go outside the maze, this right here, or if I is greater than or equal to the maze dot length, the reason I'm doing this check right here. Now we're gonna do the same thing with J. J is just gonna control, the I controls the rows, the J controls the indexes within. So J is less than 0, or we're gonna do that again. J is greater than or equal to maze I dot length. Basically what this is gonna do, if the J, which is going through the indexes inside here, so this right here, if you hit any walls, the walls are 1. So we want to check that value there. So this is the maze. We're gonna check the maze, the row we're at. We're gonna check the value that is in that row. If that value in that row is equal to 1, then we're gonna return. How do we return this? Return dead. So now let's do the finish. If maze of I, basically the maze at row something, then value something here, if it's equal to 3, which is tells us right here is the finish point. If that value is 3, then we want to return finish. So if direction index is greater than or equal to, okay, so if the direction index is greater than the directions, is greater than the directions dot length, that would mean that we have used up all the directions that we were provided, but we're still going through the indexes, but there's no more to go through. We don't have any more directions, so we basically lost. Okay, and we also want to check that the maze was not equal to 3. Sorry, I'm a bit sick, jamming on my brain. Maze I, J. We also want to check if we're at this point where the directions index is greater than the directions length, which means there's no more directions, and the maze value that we're at, the ij value that we're at, is, we're going to do not equal to 3, then we return last. This was probably the roughest thing to set up, because this is what determines if we're dead, we're finishing the maze, or we're lost. So next thing. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Damn, I didn't think about that beforehand. So like this is what we're gonna do. If direction index, we're gonna check that. Actually, I'm confusing them already. Directions index is equal to n, capital N. If that's the case, then we're gonna call analyze path. Here's where the recursion starts. We're gonna call analyze path. We have to pass in all these same arguments because this is what the function is taking. So we have to pass all that in again. We have to pass the maze, the I, the J, directions, index. So remember that our I is the rows. So what we're gonna do is I minus 1. We're gonna increment it like if it was a for loop. Okay, now if directions directions index is equal to do south just to manage the rows first. Remember, north -1, south +1. So analyze path. We need to pass in the same values. J directions index +1. We're still passing in the same one because we need to increment, just like a for loop. So we need to increment by 1 this time, like this. And then we're going to do the same thing. If directions, you know what? There's nothing wrong with doing this. I hope. Alright. Now let's check the other case, which is going to be the east. So if we're going east, we're incrementing 0, 1, 2. So we're going to increment by 1. And then copy that same thing over here. Vice versa, we're going to do west. West is the opposite, so that's minus. We need to go, we're going to decrease the index. So now that we have this, we should be able to return this. Let's see. Are we not returning anything? There we are. Huh. Let's see if we can test something out here. Let's let the status of a game equal be empty. We do return status equal to dead. Then return status equal to finish. Now return status equal to lost. Okay, let's test that. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's not gonna work. What can be going on here? What did we do wrong? It's not returning any of these cases. Why? Oh, dumb mistake of mine. Dumb mistake. We're forgetting to pass a parameter in here. Right here. We were passing the direction, the index, but not the directions again. We were losing the directions in the next call. Let's test that. There we go. We did it. Alright, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. This is probably, like I said at the beginning, my first ever video. So I will improve myself. Just give me a chance. I will be practicing more often. And this is probably not the only thing I'll be uploading. I'll be uploading things related to computer science and web development. So if you guys like any of that, go ahead and subscribe.